Buying this coin now is the equivalent to buying Bitcoin at $100, and we all know how that played out in the long run. As new crypto ETFs are emerging and the Bitcoin halving is around the corner as well in April of 2024, followed by a bull run and increased interest for crypto, I believe that this coin that I'm going to talk about in this video could be a really great contributor to your digital assets portfolio. The coin I'm talking about has only been around for 2 years, and it's been recognized for its revolutionizing technology in the crypto world and also its great fundamental aspects. The coin I'm talking about is Kaspa, and some of you may not have heard of Kaspa, so in today's video I will be explaining why I believe that Kaspa could be a really great contributor to your digital assets portfolio. Before we dive in, I just want to make it clear that I'm not here to be the crypto guru that's promising 100x returns in just 2 weeks. My goal is to present the facts and fundamentals that, in my opinion, makes Kaspa a great contributor to your digital assets portfolio. I urge you not to trust solely my own word. Please do your own research and due diligence, and remember that none of this is financial advice. I've divided this video into 4 different segments, and in the first segment I'll be exploring the visions for Kaspa and what they're trying to achieve, and after that I'll delve into the technicals and explaining why Kaspa is revolutionizing the crypto world, and after the technicals I'll be talking about the outstanding founders of the project, and lastly I will summarize up my points and giving you my personal expectations for Kaspa in the future. It's important that you watch through this entire video so you understand my reasoning at the end of this video. So let's start with the visions for Kaspa. Kaspa is set out to be a currency that you use for trade, a currency that you can use to go buy a cup of coffee, or that you can go and buy a car with, or that you could do whatever you could do with normal money or fiat currencies, sorry. The Kaspa supply is limited just like Bitcoin's supply, and once all coins are mined, no one can print more Kaspa or mine more Kaspa, whatever you want to say. And this is unlike the fiat currencies where governments are printing money recklessly, leading to the normal currencies like the dollar and euro being further inflated and less valuable for the people that actually hold the currencies. So the fact that Kaspa has a fixed supply makes it deflationary instead of inflationary, which means that the value is increasing over time instead of decreasing over time. So no one has the power to devalue it by printing more Kaspa. That is not possible. Now, some of you might think that what makes Kaspa different from Bitcoin if it's the same deflationary technology? And that's a great question, because the white paper that Satoshi Nakamoto wrote, and for those of you that don't know, Satoshi Nakamoto is the alias of the founder of Bitcoin. That white paper was named Bitcoin a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. But to be frank with you, the technology is far too slow and outdated for Bitcoin to be able to become a real-life currency that is used for everyday transactions. Bitcoin can handle 7 transactions per second, and the average transaction fee for sending Bitcoin across the network can reach up to $50 during times of high payload on the network. And those numbers aren't reasonable for a currency that is going to be used for everyday transactions. Just imagine yourself going to a coffee shop to buy yourself a coffee, and when you order your coffee, you stand there, you send your $5 in Bitcoin, but you pay an additional $50 in transaction fees, and you also have to stand there for 30 minutes to wait for the transaction to go through. That wouldn't work, and that's why I believe that Bitcoin is more like digital gold rather than a currency used for trade. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm trash talking Bitcoin. In fact, most of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. I just rather see it as Bitcoin being a type of digital gold instead of a currency, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, that was the visions. Let's get into some of the technicals instead. But let's remember the facts and numbers from the previous segment, and let me explain why Kaspa is a better contender for becoming a real-life currency used for everyday trading. Kaspa is the world's first BlockDAG system, and I really want to keep this video on the surface level with the technicals so I don't bore you guys, and for those of you that are not so heavily invested in crypto technology also get to somewhat understand what I'm talking about. The BlockDAG is the successor to the blockchain. The BlockDAG is much faster and also more scalable than a traditional blockchain system, and the BlockDAG still uses miners to verify and secure transactions on the network, which ensures the security and decentralization of the currency. As of now, Kaspa's system with the BlockDAG is able to handle up to 400 transactions per second, but it's currently being rewritten to a different coding language, which will make it much faster. And after that rewrite is done, it's not impossible to see Kaspa reach up to at least 1000 transactions per second, and it could even be way more than that. And let's also shed some light on the transaction fees. Last time I checked, the average transaction fee for Kaspa was 0.0001 Kaspa per transaction, and that is around 0.00001 in the current valuation of Kaspa. So the fact that Kaspa has so low transaction fees and that it's able to handle so many transactions per second makes it really scalable. Now with Kaspa you can go and buy your coffee, and instead of having to wait there for 30 minutes and instead of having to pay $50 in transaction fees, you pay $5 for your coffee, the transaction goes through instantaneously, and you pay like 1/100th of a cent for the transaction fee, which is next to nothing. And the only problem this early on is that you'll have to search a while to find a coffee shop that actually accepts Kaspa as a payment. So if you own a coffee shop, please start accepting Kaspa, and I'll maybe pay you a visit in the future to buy a coffee with my Kaspa. Now, some of you may think that XRP or Solana are better contenders than Kaspa. And yes, they might be faster as of now in transaction speeds, but neither of those projects are truly decentralized. And in my personal opinion, there's just a higher risk when something is centralized to a select few. And Kaspa was fair launched, which means that there were no pre-mining and no pre-sales to venture capitalists or anything like that. Everyone had an equal and fair opportunity to be a part of Kaspa early on. So the fact that Kaspa is fair launched is a very good sign for healthy tokenomics. Now let's talk about the founders and team behind Kaspa. The founder of Kaspa is Yonatan Sompolinsky, and he is a real crypto OG. He was a part of developing the Ghost protocol that is used by many big cryptocurrencies, the biggest being Ethereum, and that's also why he is mentioned in Ethereum's white paper. And some even claim that Yonatan Sompolinsky could be Satoshi Nakamoto. There's even a meme coin out there that's called Yotoshi, so Yonatan mixed with Satoshi. And if you want to read more about Yonatan Sompolinsky being Satoshi Nakamoto, I leave a link in the description of this video to a really interesting Twitter or X thread about the subject if you want to learn more. It's obvious that Yonatan Sompolinsky is a really smart dude, along with many of the other Kaspa team members, for example Aviv Sohar. He's also a recognized guy in the crypto world, and really the more you dig into different papers, the more you start to find Yonatan Sompolinsky's name being literally everywhere. Here he is referenced by the big tech company Ericsson, and here he is mentioned by the National Library of Medicine, and here he is mentioned by the National Science Foundation, and he is also mentioned by multiple different research labs. So to summarize this video up, I believe that Kaspa is really a great project that most likely will do well in the next bull run, but I don't think that's where the really big gains will be, because Kaspa is still very early. It was launched in 2021, and I believe that we will start to see bigger moves once people all over the world start to lose faith in the traditional fiat currencies that are run by governments. And once that happens, people will start to look for other alternatives to use as a money system, and then they will stumble upon cryptocurrencies and they will realize that Bitcoin is far too slow and XRP is far too centralized, and that's where Kaspa needs to step in and really show itself. And now the job for the community is to spread the word about Kaspa and make more people learn about the project and the technology behind Kaspa, and also start to use Kaspa as a means of payment. And then in over 10 years from here, we will see great results. But again, nothing is for certain, and that's the only thing that is for certain. I hope that makes sense, okay? And for what I know, Kaspa Kaspa could also go to zero, but I believe that's very unlikely. Now, if you made up your own decision and made your own research to buy some Kaspa, you can use my link down in the description and sign up on KuCoin, and when using my link down in the description, you also get $700 in rewards. Now, be aware that cryptocurrencies are very volatile, so make sure you have that in mind when investing and don't invest money that you can't afford to lose. If you also want to store your Kaspa safely, you can also use my link down below to buy yourself a Tangem hardware wallet where you can store your cryptocurrencies safely from hackers. And by using my affiliate link, you also save $5 on your purchase. And also please consider liking and subscribing so this video reaches more people. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Tashi. Goodbye.